Thank you. Good morning. It's just 11 o'clock, and yet we're talking about nightlife. I just checked. We're about 9 hours away from sunset, so thank you for coming and talk about the best nights of your life. Yes, I work for Jägermeister, Mast-Jagermeister UK. We're the distributor of Jägermeister. You guessed it. We also distribute Gensul, and we distribute Terramana, small batch tequila, and all of those can be elements of a very good night. But every story needs a beginning, and this one begins in a forest, or near a forest, near the Harz Mountains in Germany, northern part of Germany, where about 90 years ago, a man called Kurt Mast developed something exceptional. He had the bright idea to combine 56 different botanicals and turn it into a drink, and that drink is, of course, Jägermeister. Now, at the time, little did Kurt know that his drink would one day become, or one night become, the fuel of countless epic nights. He had a different theme in mind. He was more about hunting. He made this drink to celebrate and to toast to successful hunts. Okay, and you can still see quite a lot of the symbolism in the bottle, the name. It means master hunter. You can see the green bottle, so the green colors. You have a poem running around the edge. And you have this massive stag, in case you missed it. That's right on the bottle there, which translates back to the legend of Saint Hubertus, who, believe it or not, is the patron saint of all hunters. So why did Kurt Mast choose hunting as his guiding theme for his new liquid or his new brand? He probably didn't call it brand at the time, but anyway, well, I think it's because Kurt was probably what today we would call a consumer-centric marketer. He definitely wouldn't know what that means, but he knew what it entails, and that's basically asking your consumers, okay, what kind of themes, what kind of topics resonate with you? And for him, in his time, hunting was very much a dominating theme, was very much in fashion. Now, if we ask our consumers today, we get very different answers. Hunting definitely isn't on the top of the list. We have things like music, festivals, events, fashion, sports, food, and of course, going out, nightlife. Everything very exciting themes, but interestingly, if you put those from today and those from Kurt together, there's something that connects them. And they're all about special moments that you celebrate with special people. And that was true 90 years ago as much as it is true today. And today we call this the best nights of your life. And we think there's no brand better suited for this than Jägermeister, because you know when someone gives you the look and comes out with a round of shots, it's on, and it might well turn into the best night of your life. So how do we capitalize on this? Well, it turns out that this theme around best nights is incredibly rich, and it can be used for all sorts of messages, right? Now, I'm going to let you in a little secret. Probably most of you will know Jägermeister as one of the core components of the famous Jäger bomb, which is a wonderful drink. But actually, there's another way to drink it, which isn't widely known, but it's even better, and that is ice cold as a shot. And the ice cold element is quite pivotal, because if you drink it at room temperature, you see these 56 ingredients that we talked about earlier. They have 5 different flavor components. And at room temperature, they're a little bit like this. But when you add the magic minus 18 degrees, then everything reaches perfect harmony. Now, you will see that is a very functional message, whereas nightlife is a very emotional message. So how do we combine the two? Well, we did it with this campaign, which we did together with our friends from Red Brick Road.
Jägermeister. We all know it, love it, live it. But amazingly, it can be even better, taken to the next level. Who knew? Well, not the majority of our Gen Z drinkers, a staggering 89%. We need to share the secret with them, the secret of the perfect serve. The secret is ice cold, minus 18 degrees to be exact. And how do we share it? Everywhere they are, emotionally and authentically. With our dancers, DJs, artists, director and meisters, all experiencing the secret of ice, taking their passions to the next level, just like Jägermeister. Using the top producer DJ Majestic.
For this Jägermeister project, I was asked to bring the Jägermeister vibe to the track. I think when you see and hear things that make you move, you want to create it.
From awesome to jaw-dropping. Some stunning content that's filmic and immersive. In all formats. Across media. Getting the message out there. Across the UK. And we've only just begun. The first step of the ice journey. Jump on board. Jägermeister. The secret is ice cold.
So again, it's a bit of a functional message. Drink the product ice cold, but it really worked. And we rolled that campaign out 360 degrees, including the on-trade and also supermarkets, where someone from my team had a genius idea saying, hey, the tagline is, the secret is ice cold. Why don't we take that literally and put the secret onto the back of the bottle? And then you cool it, you freeze it, and then the secret is revealed in the form of a secret code. And, well, that's what we did. So if you enter this code, you can win all sorts of prizes, which you can tie it back to the nightlife theme, to the best nights theme. So, you know, be it festival tickets or other things surrounding nightlife. Now, I hear you say supermarkets and the off-trade. Isn't that a bit far removed from the excitement of nightlife, of going out, of clubs? Well, that's what I thought as well. You know, you're not wrong. But then someone pointed out that there is a bit of a similarity between this and that. And then we thought, hang on, man, this is genius. This is something we cannot ignore, you know. I mean, what an obvious similarity, what an obvious opportunity for us to present this. So we said, this is great. We're going to have to throw a party in a supermarket, in the freezer aisle. Genius. So we went to various grocery stores across the UK with our wonderful idea, and well, let's say they didn't really like it. So yeah, we went back to square one and said, okay, you know what? If they don't see the genius of our idea, we're gonna have to open our own store, because nothing beats running your own store. You can do whatever you want, and guess what? That's what we did. Now, the first thing you need, obviously, is a store, which we found on Oxford Street, Europe's busiest shopping street. And the second thing you need is a store manager, which we found in Michael Dappa. And he was the one who announced the opening of our new store to the world in his very own style.
Welcome to the world's first ice-cold supermarket, where everything is ice-cold. Over here, the staff are as chilled as the products. You can try some of our revolutionary food and drink that will chill your taste buds. You can throw in a barbecue, impress your guests with our cold dogs. If you don't like it spicy, no worries. You'll love our cold sauce. Indulge in our zero-calorie basmati ice. We have everything you need, all under one roof, and everyone's welcome. We take ice cream, all at the ice-cold supermarket. You had one job. I said at the Penguin. Sorry, work experience. Ice-cold supermarket for product best served ice-cold.
So that got the message out, and on top of that, we launched a website. We posted some jobs on LinkedIn. We actually got some applications. And probably the best moment was when one of our competitors asked us if they could list their product with us. We said no, because it's not ice cold. So lo and behold, the day we opened our store, there was a big queue outside, and everything inside was sold ice cold. So you had T-shirts, you had sliders, you had jumpers, everything you wanted, and of course Jägermeister in a special edition bottle, ice cold. And the best thing was, we did finally get to throw a rave in a supermarket. Now, as you can imagine, that was a lot of fun. And we got a lot of PR around the whole thing and lots of digital reach, et cetera, but it was kind of a one-off, right? I mean, it's not every day that you really get to throw a party in a supermarket. Now, fortunately, there's something else that happens quite a bit more often around best nights in the UK, and that's festivals. Massive opportunity. 97% of Gen Z say nothing compares to the excitement of a live event. 54% of them actively have plans to attend a festival in the UK this summer. I think last year over 6.5 million people attended festivals, so it is a massive opportunity for us to play as a brand. However, if you want to bring to life the best night of your life at a festival, let me tell you, it's a difficult playground. Now, a few years ago, I was at this one, Tomorrowland, and I saw an activation from another brand, I'm not going to say who, and they had a brilliant idea. They said, okay, we're going to have a tent with DJs playing next to a stage with DJs playing. Yeah, let me say it wasn't really full at that thing, so it was a bit of a tough sell, and I felt for the team there. But back to us here, we said, okay, what do we do? How do we activate this? And we went back to our founder there, Kurt. So what would Kurt do? And I think the first thing we need is obviously really good content. So we have a culture marketing team who are really well connected to some of the best artists in the UK, and we put them on a stage, and that really fuels. It's one of the key components of an epic night. The second one is a massive sound system that also has really worked, and there was a certain moment of pride. I'm not going to deny it when last year at one of the festivals, the main stage called, and one of the headline artists told us to turn the stage down because we were a bit louder than they were. And thirdly, you need to connect it back to the brand. So we put a massive stag in front of it. And that is the entrance to the Jägermeister Platz. So we'll be at a few more festivals this season, including Transmit and Reading and a few others. And if you're there, do swing by and join us with some drinks there. But how do we measure success of this from a brand leadership perspective? I assume a lot of you here do a lot of your brand activation on digital channels. You're basically drowning in data, which is great. There's probably other people, or maybe the same people, who activate a lot at events, and it's sometimes a bit difficult because this is a very emotional context. And how do you turn emotion into data? Yes, you can measure how many people go in, you can measure how many people drink your drink, et cetera, but it's difficult to put on a slide or a spreadsheet. The moment you walk in, after 10 seconds, you know if it's been a hit or not. And at the first festival, Parklife, where we activated a few weekends ago, we knew after basically 2 minutes it's working. Because it was full, people were dancing, people were smiling, people didn't want to leave. There was a massive queue outside. So it was actually at, so the question is it effective? And it was at MadFest a few years ago where we met the team of ProQuo AI, who might be somewhere on the grounds here as well. And they said, well, they can actually do some day-to-day tracking of your brand equity and give you results. And they use some AI stuff to filter out all the bullshit. So we asked them, okay, let's try this. And we saw this curve here, and there were two spikes. There's one in the middle, which we can ignore for now. There's something different, but festival season here and festival season here. So there was a clear correlation. And that showed us it is working. And I'll show you something else later on that reinforces this claim. So there is something that connects the emotional experience at that event to our overall brand equity. Now, I mentioned our team before, who work with all the artists, our culture marketing team and everyone else, the events team around that. What's important for that is obviously a good connection with DJs, with artists, with music, etc. And a lot of DJ careers start when? Well, at your university days. We also have a pretty strong brand ambassador program, a student brand ambassador program, and they are actually well connected to you know, emerging DJ talent. So we said, okay, how can we capitalize on that? How can we give these guys who are just emerging, who are just starting their DJ careers, how can we give them a bit of a kickstart to take their DJing career to the next level? And that's how the Jägermeister DJ Academy was formed. Together with our student brand ambassador academy team at Raptor Agency, we selected 10 talents, and for 3 days they went into an intensive masterclass, a little bit longer than this one, and learned everything about DJing. So they were already good from the start, but we took them to the next level. And at the end of it, we threw them into a massive rave with Homebase, not the hardware store, but the other one. Well, let's say their careers definitely took off and went to another level.
My name is Gaia, 1/4 of Girls Don't Sing. I've teamed up with Jägermeister, setting up the best night DJ academy.
It's something that I've wanted to do since I was young.
3 days is so intense, we learned so much.
There's doctors, there's psychologists, like there's a whole bunch of people studying all different types of subjects downstairs, but they're all here because they have a passion for DJing.
Everyone went crazy fast.
Yeah, music is everything.
Pick up the baseline.
Shaggy.
Brilliant content.
So the DJ Academy was actually part of something that we call the Save the Night initiative. And Save the Night is something that we use to, well, literally save the night. I'm not sure if you're aware, but you know, a lot of elements of nightlife are under threat. Venues are closing down. We lost over 1/3 of nightclubs in the UK in the last 3 years. People go out less. There's lots more regulation. This idea was born during COVID, during lockdown, where a lot of our friends in the industry were really struggling. Bartenders just, you know, didn't make any money because the bars were closed. How were they going to make money? Same with DJs. They didn't have any gigs to perform. So we said, okay, well, you know, they've always helped us out in the good times. Now it's for us to help them out. So we put up, you know, like virtual drop-ins. You could book a virtual masterclass on cocktail making. You could book them for your Zoom parties, etc. All those dark days. Fortunately, they're all behind us. But as I said, nightlife still needs support. So this program is still happening. It's supporting initiatives like this, where we do support up-and-coming talent. But we also have, for instance, a nightlife fund that gives out £100,000 a year to different projects around the world. Anyway, back to these DJs here. So for us, it's great. It was a lot of fun. You know, we have 10 young people who will probably love us, you know, for the rest of their lives. But obviously, it's not just about those 10 people in the room for us. It's more about the 10 million people that you can reach with it. So together with our partners at Silverdor, who run our digital feeds, we said, okay, how can we maximize the reach for this? And this has really become sort of a formula we've used there. So, you know, we create best nights, we turn it into really creatively compelling content, and then we reach the millions. And that's something that we can see is something that's just more and more asked for. It is working. So, for instance, we went to a Snowbox festival earlier this year, which is in France. It's, you know, it makes sense. It's skiing. It's great nights. Jägermeister's right in the mix of it. And again, we asked, okay, how can we turn this, what's great for a few thousand people there, into something that actually has relevance for the masses that might want to watch it online? And it turned out into something where basically we took over a little, what do you call it, a gondola, had a live DJ session in there, and another best night was born at Snowbox.
If you just arrived, come to the stage right now.
So again, we asked the question, okay, is that working? It's great for the people on the ground. It was definitely fun to be there. You know, who doesn't want to go skiing when their boss asks them to? But yes, it is working. We had an even bigger reach with that and had an even a better cost per view. So the creative strength of the content is something that is propelling our brand forward. And it's great to see that in digital results directly, but even better to see that in other results. So again, if you ask consumers, this is through Kantar, have you seen Jägermeister at festival events, concerts? Since we sort of took the decision, all right, we're going to focus on this kind of stuff, we see consumers noticing this, but we can also see that brand love for Jägermeister grows exponentially. So again, a very strong connection with this. So now we're on the hunt of saying, okay, how can we have fun and turn it into good content? And sometimes it actually, that is, you know, it's almost done for you. Especially when you have a legend like Jeff Kendall, who calls us. He's a skateboarding legend from the 90s and says, okay, guys, in the 90s I developed a skateboarding deck with you. Can we do that again? And we said, okay, well, that's definitely a call from the cold. We didn't expect that. But yes, going back to our formula, best nights, this, slightly stretching that concept, but really compelling content, linking it to the brand and reaching millions. So we said, all right, Jeff, come on over. Come down to our headquarters in Germany and bring 3 of the best skateboarders that you know, and we'll send you on the hunt.
So I brought you guys here to talk about some innovation that we could possibly do. One of my ideas is we take this bottle of Jägermeister, we take this Santa Cruz skateboard, and we put them together. Backside 50-50, sweep the deck, come back in. Oh. Pretty sick.
Massive idea.
Pleasure working with you guys.
Thank
Seriously,
you so much.
wow.
So this is brand new. We just launched this, I think, last week. We're bringing back the deck, an exciting capsule collection, so you can buy that now if there are any skateboarders out here. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck, beautiful piece of art, but it is something that, again, from our perspective, allows us to transform a brand message and reach massive amounts of people. So I hear you say, okay, we talked about Wolfenbüttel and forests, we talked about Kurt Mast, we talked about supermarkets, festivals, DJs, and now skateboards. That all sounds a lot of fun, but is it working? Well, in short is, yes it is. So I want to go back to the Kantar example that we talked about a few moments ago, which we use to track our brand equity, our brand strength, basically. And we can see that we're basically reaching record highs here. So in what we call the low season in Q1, which is where we don't have the massive strength, we see a massive 15% increase, and then the high season is even higher, 29% increase. And that, when we saw this data come in, we saw, okay, this is good because we can continue, keep doing what we like, keep doing this fun element of, propelling best nights, giving consumers the best nights of their life. That's something that they ask for, but it's also working for us. It is propelling our brand to new strengths, and that is something that obviously is very, very pleasing. So there you have it, everything connected from the forests of the Harz Mountains near Wolfenbüttel all the way to brand equity. They're all connected, but all of this wouldn't be possible without the fundamentals. And those are, of course, you have to have a very, very good product. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Consumers won't buy you if your product is crap. You really have to understand the consumer. What would Kurt do? Go back 90 years ago to one of the first consumer-centric marketers. You have to have a clear strategy. What do you want? From the strategy come your objectives, and then you execute. And when you execute, you have to do it at your very best, right? Don't worry about failing. Don't worry about trying things out. And, if you fail, at least you've learned something. But you really have to make sure you give your level best. So the excellent execution excellence is paramount. For us, it's something we wouldn't be able to do without the help from our agencies. I mentioned a few of them, but I probably forgot way too many of them. All of this is not possible without the support of people who really understand you. So you have to give them a good brief. You have to listen to them. Sometimes they know better, and your brand better than you do yourself. But also, you need a really good team to support you. And some of my team are in the room here today, so I have the privilege and honor of speaking on their behalf. But without them, all of this wouldn't be possible. So this is also my moment to thank all of them. And that's how we connected nightlife to brand equity, and it is working. And with that, thank you. And if you have any questions, we are actually a little bit ahead of time.
Excellent. Thank you very much. An awesome presentation. Are there any questions? Well, we have Christian on the stage. Excellent.
You use Kantar for understanding, I guess, brand equity. Do you also have like social listening and tools like that, kind of watching for mentions and things like that? And is that kind of a metric that you look for in this kind of brand love and awareness?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? They just turned this up a little bit.
You mentioned you use Kantar and stuff like that for measuring the brand equity. Do you also have like social listening platforms like Keyed In to look for like mentions, sentiment, and things like that in terms of your metrics and analysis of the brand? We do to a certain extent, not through Kantar. Like through our digital partners, yes, we definitely do that. I think the issue sometimes you have is that you get a bit carried away. I think especially in our understanding or in our experience, when you pay too much attention to digital, this sounds awful, but sometimes you have too much information, you kind of drown it, and then you read too much into this. I mean, I'm a massive fan of going to the qualitative stage. You can do that through social listening, absolutely, it's quite cheap and effective. But I think it should be one element of a broader range of, of things. So it is absolutely very important. But is this on? Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's good. Okay, good. But it's one element of it.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me from up there? Can you hear me? Yeah. That was fantastic, really interesting. I think it's a great example of a brand really committing and leaning into that strategic content territory and not being scared to take some risks. My question for you is, not only is our nightlife kind of dying off, which is a shame, young people are drinking alcohol less and less, looking at Gen Z trends. How are you going to kind of what's your approach for, I suppose, the next 3 to 5 years in terms of maybe that market becoming more competitive as your consumer base decides that they don't want to consume alcohol as much as previous generations?
Yes, very good question. And let me tell you, it's one that gets discussed a lot in various boardrooms around the world. I think... first and foremost, yes, there's that trend. Consumers drink less, which is, we don't want to change that. I mean, our mission is not to get people to drink alcohol. Our mission is to get people who have made a choice to buy an alcoholic drink to choose our brand over others, okay? If we look a bit deeper at this, there's a variety of factors at play here. Obviously, one of them is the pandemic, which basically took out three age bands of cohorts that went into the market, because frankly everything was closed. There is a massive cost of living crisis right now. People are economizing on that, which is all sounds a bit doom and gloom. But actually, if you look at what people are least able or least willing to give up in terms of luxuries, that they treat themselves to, nightlife is actually number one. So they say, okay, yes, I have less money to spend, but the last thing I want to give up on is going out. So people still want to go out. There is this human desire to sit around the fire and dance and listen to music. It's been like that for 5,000 or 10,000 or I don't know how many thousand years. And that's not going to go away. So I'm a strong believer in that. And I think anyone who's ever been out and, knows that's something that nothing else can give you. So the moment the need state is still very much there, it might happen somewhere else. And that's something that we have to adapt to. So it comes back to the question earlier, social listening, but also other things. How do you get the intelligence? How do you get the data into the system that is our organization? And how do you process that? How do you turn that into actionable insights? Okay. And then it's about staying close to the consumer to understand what exactly is it that they want when they are out and responding to that. So we want to position our brand as the brand who gives them the best night of their life. It might be different now than it was 5 years ago, probably different than 50 or 500 years ago, but still, if you go to the very basic desire that is there, that is this moment of release, of having a great time with friends, with people that you like, that is still very much there, and that gives us a lot of hope that that's not going to go away over the next 3 to 5 years.
Thanks. We've got another question up here. Saving my legs, thank you.
Thank you. That was fascinating, and thank you so much for sharing that. Congrats to you and the team. My question is, the brand equity scores look absolutely fantastic, and that seems to be real progress.
Sorry, 1 second. Can you give me like a headset? I have some trouble understanding you. Thank you. All right, let's try that again.
How's that? Is that better?
Perfect.
The brand equity scores look fantastic. I was wondering if you have the same metrics pre-COVID to understand the difference before the nightlife dropped away.
We didn't have the similar level, so this actually is good on a global scale, let's say, all right? So obviously during COVID, everything dipped a bit. We had massive spike after COVID because people just wanted, we talked about this release theme just a second ago. That was very much on vogue right after the lockdown was lifted, and people just want to go out, and it was, like a post-war era almost. Since then, it's been normalized a little bit, but what we can see is that actually the brand equity keeps growing. And that is, again, there's something that you have to see in the context of everything is happening, but also what we tell our bosses is, it's entirely up to it's down to our work. That's it's definitely, there is a link, what you put in and what you put out. So this is good. I think the good thing about these equity things is, it's good and a bad thing. A good thing is that it gives you an overall view of everything that you do because it ties it all together. Obviously, the disadvantage is it doesn't tell you which element exactly worked. So it is a bit of a, trial and error. But now we think that we have found a formula that is working for us.
Hey man, can you hear me right?
Perfect, thank you.
So Jaeger feels like they put experiential at the heart of what they do from quite an early on period, but as it's quite a new thing in the world of marketing, how does Jaeger plan on staying ahead in experiential as the rest of the world, and especially the drinks market, kind of catches up?
I'm not going to tell you that, am I? No, it's a good question. It's I'd say we want to stay close to the consumer. So I mentioned our culture marketing team, for example. Those guys and girls are out there to just see what kind of trends are happening as they emerge, and then bring it back into the organization so we can process it and turn it into actionable insight. Spending lots of time, like when we talk about festivals, on festivals, see what everyone else is up to, what they're doing, see how people react to to different things that are being offered, and from that, hopefully, yeah, come up with something that works. I think with this activation, the Jägermeister plots, that's something that's been an evolution. So we tried something out, we saw it work, we made it a bit bigger, made a few tweaks, and now we are in a position where we think, okay, we have a winning formula. If that's still going to be the same in 5 years, we don't know. But it's yeah, I think Mark Twain said, predictions are extremely difficult, especially when they concern the future. And that's certainly the case here. So we just have to stay close to trends as they emerge.
Hi, Christian. Yeah, just on the subject of festivals again, I know it's a very natural place for Jägermeister to be in. Obviously, it's a very noisy space, and there are literally hundreds of festivals every year you could be involved in. What's your sort of decision-making process for how you choose the festival to partner with, and then obviously how you generate the ROI off the back of them as well? Because obviously that's a key factor.
Yes, absolutely. So this year we're partnering exclusively with Live Nation, which you might say, okay, that's going to narrow it down a bit, but even they have, like, I don't know, dozens of festivals across the UK alone. So we look at the audience who attends the festival, so demographic audience, location, geographic factors, but also what kind of music plays there. And then we want to get out there to as many people as possible. So if we want to maximize our reach, we try to capture as many of those factors as possible, and also knowing who our people are, who our consumers are, where would they go, so we can reinforce the message there and bring it to life.
Does your revenue curve follow your brand love and brand equity curve?
I just turned this thing off. Okay. No.
Okay. No.
Hello? Yes.
Hello?
Okay, yes, perfect.
Does your revenue curve follow your brand equity, brand love curve?
Yes, not directly. I mean, there isn't like, okay, we do a festival and tomorrow a sales spike. But obviously there is a correlation. A bit of a lag, sometimes a bit longer, sometimes a bit shorter, but yes.
One more question here.
Hi there. Hi. I'm from Kantar, so thanks for the call out. But for the other brands that are in the room and for the label of your talk, you speak about brand equity. What are some of the learnings that you can maybe share around the room around the short and the long term? Because I think often brands fall in the trap of just doing the short-termism, right? But there's really this long-term play. I love your story about heritage and other things. But what are some of the learnings that you can share with other brands around the importance of long-term brand building and long-term brand equity?
Yes, well, I think it's imperative that you build your brand long-term. And for us, being such an emotional brand, we believe that this emotional context cannot be reached anywhere outside of this. You have to experience it live. Now, obviously, there's some, ATL messaging involved as well, but we think this is something that really where it comes to life. So our messages or our strategy is that we want to build the brand with long-term activations. So you really build the memory structures, and then you activate it short-term. So I guess most people might be familiar with the works of Field and Burnett, the magic 60-40 split. That's something. Yeah, I won't be able to tell you if we really nail it on 60, but I think the direction is the important thing here. So in some years it's a bit more closer to that, and some years it's not so close to that. But ultimately, you're not gonna do this, like I said, to the previous question, and immediately see a result in sales. But if you don't do it, you will ultimately see a result in sales. There's the old story of, I forgot his name, who said, okay, I bought an Aston Martin because I turned 60, and I bought it because I saw an ad. Oh, great, when did you see the ad? When I was 14. So, that is how long it takes to build a brand, and you just have to believe in the right thing, but at the same time, you can track these things. And see if it works.
Hiya, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
I was just wondering, how does product sampling sit as part of your strategy as well? Because there's a lot about experiential and emotive connection, but I know in the past, in particular, Jägermeister's had a bit of a challenge around taste and whether product sampling within all those experiences was a key element.
Yes, absolutely. This is a very fair question. And yes, so everything that we do usually has a sampling element. I mean, obviously, I don't know, an Instagram ad that's more indirect than, say, at a festival or so. But when we work in the on-trade or so, sampling can take various forms. Something more direct, where we actually have people who hand you a liquid sample. Sometimes more indirect, where we work with bars or so to incentivize them to do the sampling for us. Festivals also, they have various bars outside of our own bars. So everything, like I said, the first thing you need is a good product, and you need to present it in its best form. So this connection is absolutely pivotal to allow people to sample your product there. However, like when we talk about festivals, for example, for us, sampling is one key component. The other key component is this emotional experience. You want to combine the two, because if we just said, okay, all we want to do is sample, probably this would look quite differently. However, if we said all we want to do is just have a massive party, then we would just have a stage. But one major thing, I don't know if you saw it in the video, is the bar. So there's a big container that is a stage, and there's a big container that is a bar. And those two work together, hand in hand.
Hi. First of all, I'm from Tesco, so I'm really disappointed we said no to having a rave in our supermarket.
Oh, were we?
But yeah, I just wondered, with the serve suggestion and all the freezing cold serve, was there more of a success in the on-trade versus the off-trade, or was it pretty similar across both?
Success in terms of?
More sales?
Yes, okay. Yes, so we are a brand that is predominantly sold in the on-trade. Yeah, it's probably explained by our nature, I mean, these nightlife moments do happen in the on-trade. Predominantly, I mean, traditionally, spirits brands are built in the on-trade, and then, because you see them grow in the off-trade. For us, the on-trade is the key component. However, we are seeing this shift in nightlife that we talked earlier happening in people's homes. So a lot of this is shifting to the off-trade, and I think we know now that a lot of these occasions are fueled, by shoppers who shop at Tesco and some other companies I won't mention now, but. Yes, that is something. For us, on-trade is still bigger, but the off-trade is definitely catching up, which we are delighted for. Bye.
Any more questions? No? Well, Christian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Round of applause, please, for
Thank
Christian
you.
Stindt.